are going into permissions now. That will be the final topic of today. So let's start at the DocType because it is the heart of everything. Go to vehicle. And I have scrolled down to what? Permission rules. So currently, as you can see, there are permission rules applied, right? By default, system manager role. So I will go to roles first. Has read, write, create, delete. So this is like CRUD operations. All is allowed. So that's why we were able to do read, write, create, delete of vehicle, right? This was the role. And based on the user who has logged in, if he has this role, and then only he will be able to read, write, create, delete a vehicle, right? So how do you find if a user has a particular role or not? So user can have multiple roles. So go to user and roles and permissions. Here you can see the roles, right? So Hussain at frappe.io has all these roles checked, right? So somewhere around system manager, right? And you can click and see what all doc types that particular role has access to. So role and permissions are like very interconnected. So if you want to see the roles, so go to role list. So there are like this all come out of the box. You can even create your own custom roles that we will do now. So yeah, this is all the roles. So if you go into a particular role, right, you can customize what all is permitted to this role in general, not doc types in general. You can give them desk access. So website users don't need desk access. They work in the portal, they use the portal. But when you give desk access, you are giving access to the admin interface. So if you check system manager has desk access, guest doesn't have desk access. Blogger also has desk access, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. And also some more things. So you can enable, so you can set homepage for a particular role. You can enable search bar for them. You can enable notification, right? So this all will be hidden or shown based on what you check here and based on the role of the user. You can even have like don't show timeline, don't show sidebar. This all control you can do through roles. These are the general settings or configurations for a particular role. So what I want to create now is a role fleet manager. Basically, he is the one who will manage the vehicles. So he should be able to update and read the vehicles, but not create or delete new vehicles. That is job of Irfan. I am the owner of the shop. I can only buy vehicles and remove vehicles. You can only update the status of the vehicle. Okay, you are responsible for updating it. Okay, it is out of order or it is active or it is not. So you can't delete or create, but you can update and read. So how do I do that? I add a row here. So that row doesn't exist yet. I'll create a new role. Let's call it fleet manager. Let's hit save. I'll jump into fleet manager for now. Desk access is enabled by default and all the essential stuff is also enabled. Let's go back. And what I will do is I will remove create and delete permissions. Hit save. Now I'll go to user list. I'll create a new test user, which will be, let's call it Fahim @Irfan cars.com. First name is Fahim. Role profile, I will tell you later what it is. I will hit save. So if you refresh a bit, you will see a new user was created. So by default, no roles are given. So website user. But what I will do is I will go ahead and give him. So you will find your role here. What was the role? Let's refresh. Fleet manager, this. So I will give him fleet manager role. And now what will he be able to do? Click it and you will see what all doc types it has access to. This role, fleet manager role. So it has access to vehicle, read and write.
Hussein,
Yeah.
just click on the fleet manager.
Yeah.
So can we elaborate like what are the fields like level, select, read, write,
Yeah.
and what is the purpose?
Level will go next.
Okay.
But yeah, I will explain this part. So share is basically there is a share option, right? This one shared with. They will be
Mm-hmm.
allowed to share it with other users. So if some user does not have access to this doc type, they can share this a particular document with them. Email is basically they can click here and have access to this option called email, right? So they can email this doc type to someone else. And
Then it will
print, yeah,
the email will go from the desk itself or
from the
from.
desk itself, and it will include the data of that doc type.
Okay.
Yeah, print is they can print it. So this option will show only when someone has access to printing it, right? Export. So we have this data export tool. They will only be able to select that doc type and export if we allow them to export it, right?
That
Similarly,
is
we
same.
have, yeah,
That is same
go ahead.
as the export or import in the that like
Yeah,
in
in
that
the
field.
list view. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Same thing, but that it is like what
Understood.
happens behind the scene. Yeah. Report is they have access to the reports that are related to
Connected to this.
vehicles. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can report wise. So there are 10 reports and you want only 5 reports, right? So you don't want to see him this active vehicles by make, right? So what you can do, you have roles here. So you can like remove it or add it based on what you want. So I can add, okay, fleet manager should have access to this report that, okay, active vehicles. So once
Understand.
you create, yeah. Uh, the next thing is, yeah, if you don't
Amend.
give submit permission, yeah, the amend is basically after you cancel a submittable doc type, will you be able to amend it to create a new one, right? So we saw there was an amendment form link field created. Many
Okay.
like so this is interesting. So in the day one of the assignment, I told that flight ticket should be submittable, and many were like, why is it asking me for a new field, link field, right? There is no link field defined, but when you make it submittable, it will add a link field that is called amendment form. Yeah, similarly, there is cancel, whether the user should be allowed to cancel or not. There is submit, there is delete, that this both we disabled, right?
Mm-hmm.
Level I will come to. Level I will come to. Level is like give you superpowers after this.
And create and write. What are the difference between this? Create and write.
Write is basically update.
Okay. Okay.
Create is creation of new records.
And select and read. S-
Select, I guess. I haven't used select much, but it's something related to
Drop downs.
the list view. Yeah, drop downs or list view. So they won't be able to read the full records, but see a list of what all is there, right? Maybe the
Oh,
title field or name field. Yeah,
okay.
they won't be
Okay.
able to read a particular, so they won't be go able to go inside the form view. That's the difference between read and select.
Understand.
Is
So
it clear?
for the vehicle types, we can give the select permission
Yeah,
to the.
yeah, yeah. So you can't go into their list view or doc type view, but you can select it.
Understand.
Got it?
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, this was all this. Level we will go into, but before that, let's learn role profile. Simple thing. So what you can do is, so suppose you have this employee that you hired. and they are engineers, right? So you want the engineers to be able to blog. So I will give them blogger. You want the engineers to be able to maintain inbox and script manager. You hit save, right? Another engineer comes in. What do? You go in their user and you check, like you make sure you have checked all the roles. You might forget one role, you might add one extra. That is where role profile comes in. So either you can jump from here, or I will go to role profile list. And here you can give it a name. So engineer. I will hit save. And now here you have to just select once. Okay, blogger, inbox user, knowledge base manager, maintenance manager, website manager. Hit save. This is a role profile created. And
The
now you go back.
yeah, just the nomenclature is a bit confusing. It seems like you have the roles and you're creating the role profile, but the level name is role name. So
Yeah, it
the
should be. Yeah. It's like weird. So it should be named role profile name, or just name, maybe name of
yeah,
this role profile. Yeah,
same in the
it's
form.
role.
Yeah.
Yeah, but some people like use it. So they might not be interested in this. They just use this as the role. So I'm giving an engineer profile to them. Might be the reason to give that name. I don't know. Like it's very
Mm-hmm.
old, I guess. Old decision. If it was recent, I might have like known the reason, but honestly, I don't know why it is named role name. Yeah. So
Okay.
now, as you can see, when you select a role profile, automatically, whatever you selected here, right? Whatever roles you gave through this profile, the engineer profile, was assigned, and now you can't edit because you have selected a profile you wanted, right? Yeah. Makes sense? What is role profile? Role profile is basically a configuration you can save of multiple roles.
Correct.
And you can see which user. So in the connections, you can see, okay, one user has this profile of engineer, which is fine. Awesome. Question that was asked: what is this level, right? So before we go into level, I will show you two things, like very useful tools: role permission manager. Open it up, and here you can manage role permissions for role and permissions, right? So I can go into vehicles, and here you can see what all stuff, like for this particular doc type, which role has what permissions, right? So as you can see, fleet manager has read, write, print, and this only if creator, right? So only if creator rules are applied, only if that particular user created that document. So if I am a fleet manager and if I check this, right? So only fleet managers, like fleet managers will only have access to those vehicle which they created, nothing else. So I won't do it here because they don't have create access. So they won't create anything. They won't have access to anything, null. Yeah. So then you can select a role. So I want to check fleet manager. You can add a new rule. So this will go to customization, not your custom app. So this is useful when you are customizing stuff, right? So when you are on a site, on a production site, and you want to customize it, or the super admin of that site want to customize it, they can add new rules on top of the existing rules that we added through the DocType form, right? And they can also restore original permissions. These original permissions are basically what we defined in our DocType. Make sense? What is the role permissions manager?
Okay. Then I think then the standard would be like set the permission in doc type only.
Yeah, standard is setting it in DocType, and then you can restore when, if you have like customized it and you want go back to standard, restore it. So this comes from your DocType.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this was by roles, right? So if you have 10 engineers, all have engineer role, not role profile. So okay, let's go with fleet manager. You have 10 fleet managers. but one of them is very trustworthy, right? You want to give him like create permissions, but you don't want to create a new role for him, right? You don't want to call, okay, fleet manager trustworthy. No. What you do is you use user permissions. So there is user permission list, right? You can add update, you can add user permission. So basically for user, so maybe Fahim is the user. So this will be applied for a particular user. So this is maybe the trustworthy fleet manager. And for this, I can give him, okay. Did we write a script somewhere that is doing this?
Yes, in the hooks, I guess.
Why? Yeah. Yeah, playing around is fine, but you have to clean it up.
You could
Where is
send
it?
the empty string as well.
But fine, I will remove it any case. Maybe I should have commented it out. So I push this repo and share it usually in the group. But fine. Yeah. So you can give him access to a particular document, not just the whole doc type. You can control document level thing. So suppose Fahim is the fleet manager for this Hyundai. Okay, let's refresh. Okay, a bug. So I won't be able to demonstrate it. Maybe we can create from, not from the dialog directly from here. Allow vehicle for value Hyundai. Hit save. Yeah, from here it worked. From quick entry dialog it didn't. And now you can, for this user, you can view permitted documents as well. So, right. So you can see. So this is what we allowed him through user permissions. What this was like, what he has access through the roles. So if we remove the role, then only you will have access to this. So this is a very cool report. Permitted documents for user. So if you want to quickly check, someone is saying, okay, so usually this happens in when you develop for some company, and then what they do is basically have a super admin, right? And they see that, okay, why is this user able to access this vehicle, right? So then you can easily jump to this report, permitted documents for user, to just to confirm, okay, frame.this, and then you can see, show permissions. As you can see, now you can see, okay, Fahim has access to this doc type and this, right? So this is the report. Cool. And now we have this field thing. Okay. What do we have? We have this level, right? Let's learn all about levels. So you can go up to 9 here, 0 to 9. So level is here as well as in each field. So every field in your doc type has a perm level, which by default is 0, right? So here is what will happen. So this is like perfect use case for writing down. Okay. So there is this level, which is 0 to 9, right? By default is 0, and all the permissions that you create are 0, 0. So every field, so I have a doc type. This is called vehicle, right? In this, I have a field called status, right? We have a field called status. And we want to apply a permission that, okay, fleet manager, right, should be able to only access, like fleet manager should not be able to access what? Status field. Very counterintuitive, but bear with me. So I don't allow, so they can view all of the fields and write all of the fields, but they should not be able to modify this status field. What are we looking for? The fleet manager role, right, does not allow status update. So how will this happen? When it is done, what will happen is whenever a fleet manager opens a vehicle, this will be read only for them. So they won't be able to edit it. How do we do that? This was the goal, right? How do we do that? So each field, you can have a level. Suppose everything is 0 by default, and I do status as 1. What did I do? I did status as 1. And then I apply a permission rule that, okay, system manager has a level 1 permission. They can do everything. But fleet manager have a level 1 permission. They don't, it is not they don't have, but they only have what? So you can either have read, write. So they only have read permissions. They don't have write permissions. So this should match. So you have set status as 1 here. This should match the level. So level as 1 and the level which is on the rule, permission rule, right? So this is how this rule will correspond to this field. So you have up to 9. So you can have up to 9 levels of permissions. So let's try it out. So what I will do is I will go to, they won't see the level 1 fields. It will disappear. Let's go here. Let me refresh. And I'll go to form. What I will do is, maybe they type. Let's do it for type. Or let's do status as we were discussing. So I will change its level, perm level, to 1. I will go to vehicle list. Gone, right? Status is gone. As if you were asking this, right? What if we don't give any level 1 permissions to anyone? It is gone. It is disappeared from the form. So now what I will do is I will go to system manager and I will give him level 1 permission to what? Create read doesn't matter. Here, level 1 only read and write matters because it's a field, right? So now I will remove write permission, only read permission. Let's hit save. Go back to vehicle list. So I'm logged in as system manager. As you can see, it is read only because I only have read permission. But system manager should have read write. So let's give him write permission as well to that field. Let's go back. If you understand this, you have like mastered permissions in Frappe. It's not very hard. It's very easy. That's why I'm taking time to explain this. As you can see now, he's able to edit it. But since fleet manager does not have level 1 access, he won't be able to see any level 1 fields. But what did we decide? Okay, let him read it, right? Let him read it. So now if I log in as a fleet manager, fine, I should be able to only read it, not edit it. Got field level permissions. We are done with field level permissions. Any question? Go ahead and ask.